It looks like one of our development parts didn't fare too well in testing. I've put it on hold for now. You can restart work from the laptop. We're going to have to go back now and make some adjustments in order to get the final numbers looking more like we were expecting from the simulation.
What's going on, guys? It is Tom and welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new episode of my F1 2017 career mode. And we kick things off on a bit of a somber and disappointing note as Chris has basically confirmed to us that the upgrade that was ready for this race has actually failed on us, and that was a rear wing upgrade on the aero department. So that upgrade is going to be basically postponed for now. The idea I have is basically I'm not going to get that fixed straight away. I'll wait until I've got enough resource points to get that fixed and also purchase the other remaining air upgrade I want to make for the front wing, and I'll get both of them together, so they should hopefully both arrive maybe for Singapore if I'm lucky, because I've only got a couple of hundred resource points, so we need to use this practice session to put as many away, and also the practice session in Monza to put as many away. But other than that, things are going pretty well for us, and really, Baku aside, ever since Canada, we've been in some really good form, getting some really good positions lately, and the car's been performing absolutely beautifully, and we've been scoring good points left, right and centre, and really, getting on top now of the 110% AI, and overall it's been very good so far, and I've actually been quite happy and quite satisfied with the car performance so far. As the upgrades have gone on, they've actually really worked, and the car's just gotten better and better and better there. But as you can see there, Vijay Mallya just having a few words with me there in the cockpit before practice gets underway, possibly to negotiate some sort of deal, maybe some contract talks that are currently in motion, because I'm being looked at by various teams, and I'm sort of becoming a bit of an asset in the Formula 1 paddock now, and teams are starting to sniff around me as a possible driver for maybe future seasons. But jumping into practice now for Friday, and Spa-Francorchamps, my favourite track on the calendar, and as you can see, we actually do a pretty good job, and we're going through the practice programs here, and the car just drove absolutely fantastic, and we've got a few purple scores, a few green scores, but overall the actual R&D challenges were harder than what I actually expected. They were actually a bit more of a challenge than what I anticipated. However, I did pretty much manage to smash them all and get a pretty good amount of resource points come the end of the practice session. But so far so good for Friday, and the resource points are going to be stacking up quite nicely after this. But I do want to ask you guys what you think of the career mode so far. Are there any things you want me to see change for season 3? Let me know in the comments down below, because I will be running some straw polls very soon for season 3, and the things I might change for the series. But other than that, that's pretty much what I want to say to you guys in terms of the future. Obviously, I'm already trying to think ahead in terms of what I want to do, so I do want you guys to start commenting below in terms of what things you'd like me to change. Like, for example, do you prefer live commentary or post commentary? Do you prefer the 3-part qualifying? Do you prefer just the one-shot sort of qualifying I've been running this season? Do you prefer maybe me staying with Force India or moving to another team, possibly Mercedes? All these sort of things, just let me know in the comments down below, guys. But as you can see, we end up practice there, and we now jump into the motorhome, and we're going to have a word with Emma, because basically we beat Stroll in our last rivalry last race, and we've now got a brand new rival. The question is, who is it? It's Daniel Ricciardo. Jesus. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, that's just, nah, it's a bit mad, to be honest. Like, again, Ricciardo, really? We've actually got to try and beat a Red Bull driver again. I mean, we've done a good job lately of like getting in the mix with the Red Bulls, but I mean, I'm nowhere near consistently good enough to beat a Red Bull, but still. Anyway, jumping now just before into qualifying, just before that actually, we're going to just switch over to the engine parts, the unused engine components. So engine 3 and engine 4 are reserved for Spa and Monza respectively, so I'll use that one for Spa, and then the next one will be used for Monza. So after that, all of them will be used, and I'll be basically using those engines for the rest of the season. So I've got to try and basically balance those out and use them wisely. But jumping into Saturday, you can see on screen right now, it's absolutely pouring it down, full wet conditions, and I went out for just one lap very late in the session, just a single lap, and this is going to be my best attempt of the session. So let's run on board with it now in these wet conditions, and the reference point's a little bit messed up in the wet, but for the first corner I've run a little bit hot on the brakes, a little bit deep, but that does give me a better exit and a much better sort of switchback line out of the first corner. It's going to go downhill through turn 2 and now into Eau Rouge here, pretty much almost flat out, small little lift, back end wants to step out on you there. But so far so good in these wet conditions. We now go through the right hand kink and onto the Kemmel straight, and so far things are looking pretty damn good. Massa goes fastest out of nowhere. The Brazilian really put one out of the bag. We go for the fastest first sector, 2/10 faster than anybody else, so very solid first sector there from us as we now move later on through the lap, now going through Malmedy as we now approach turn number 8, Rivage, downhill, sort of understeery, off-cambered right-hander here. Very tricky corner, got to try and get the nose in by using the gearing, and we actually short shift to fourth on the exit as we now go into turn number 9. Keeping it in fourth gear through here. Be careful with the curbs; they can completely just throw you into the wall if you're not careful. And we now go downhill into Pouan, downshift 1 or 2 gears, and then try and hug the inside curb. Try and keep the line nice and tight throughout, and then let the car run out freely towards the end as we now go into the Fania chicane here. Down to 5th gear, then 4th, and then another short shift into 5th gear as we now go through the left-hand part of the Fania chicane, and then just get the traction out, which is absolutely critical, and then down to 4th gear, possibly 3rd for the first of the 2 Stavlos, and then here exit, absolutely critical to get good traction and get a good run through Stavlo 2 here. Don't run too wide, and I get a bit of a poor run getting on the curb, a little bit too much there, and running too wide like I said, and snapping out the back end. But now we go flat out through the section and flat out through Blanchimont here, really trying to push the car, back end snapping out at me. I get a little bit too much curb, they're getting a bit greedy over there, but now spotting pretty much 100 meter ball down to 3rd gear for the bus stop chicane in 3rd gear. I keep it in 3rd all the way through just for better traction and just overall speed, but you can use 2nd as we now short shift on the exit and run it up to the line. The question is, where has the lap put us in terms of the top 10 shuffle? And I think it's been a pretty good lap, and it has been P4, so a very good qualifying lap there, and once again I see us start very high up the grid here, but Felipe Massa is the one who steals the show in qualifying by getting pole position for the Belgian Grand Prix there, ahead of Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton. I managed to beat Valtteri Bottas there, and both for the Red Bulls with Danny Kvyat in a very impressive P6 there, but Toro Rosso, Raikkonen down in P7, so a very mixed up grid, and Ocon is in 13th place, so that's going to be a very interesting race set up for us. But without further ado, let's jump straight to Sunday now for round 12 for the Belgian Grand Prix. Okay, so here we are then at Spa, and it is race day, and we're starting from P4 on the grid, and I've got to say, do we have a chance of pulling off something special? I mean, obviously qualifying was in the wet, the race is in the full dry conditions, but who knows, we could attempt something here. The fact that the qualifying was in the wet has enabled us the possibility to qualify, and starting to qualify, start the race on a free choice of tyre. Therefore, I'm taking full advantage of that by starting on the soft compound tyre and then switching to the super soft. But overall, this is going to be very interesting. P4 on the grid, Massa is on pole position for Williams after an incredible lap in qualifying, and then we've got Vettel and Hamilton just in front of us. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this race unfolds. But right now we've got a very good start position. I want to try and have a good start, get a good run through Eau Rouge and through the Kemmel straight, and then maybe into Les Coupes we can make something happen. But who knows? Let's try and have a good race here today. This is my favourite track on the calendar, and I'm determined to make it a good race and hopefully make the most of this brand new power unit that we have. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the race now for round number 12 of the season for the Belgian Grand Prix. Right then, 5 red lights on the grid for Belgium, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go here. It's a pretty good start off the line actually. Hamilton on ultras, Massa on supers, and Seb also on supers there. But we're going through turn 1 now. Got Kano inside, which is Kimi Raikkonen. We're in a Ferrari sandwich. It's actually Bottas actually. Vettel gets a poor exit out of turn 1. A little bit of contact with Bottas there. We have to squeeze Vettel out. Bottas getting a great start. Hamilton goes side by side with Felipe Massa here through Eau Rouge. I'm going to pick up the slipstream on Valtteri Bottas here, and let's see what we can do. He's getting a toe on the guys up ahead here, and Hamilton and Massa battling it out for first place. Me and Bottas have got a huge run on these guys here, but I need to get on the brakes. Meanwhile, Bottas goes up the inside of his teammate, so Valtteri off to an incredible start here at Spa, but Massa holds on to the race lead, so he's done his job well, and he's going to basically hold everybody up here, because obviously it's a Williams, so he's going to hold up both of the Mercedes cars, myself and Seb Vettel. So this is going to be very interesting now to see how this race unfolds in these dry conditions. Yellow flag, and Bottas is on the side of the track, so is Bottas out of the race already? If he is, that's very early, and one of the Mercedes cars out of this Grand Prix. He was going side by side with Lewis last time I saw him in into Les Coupes, and now I think he's kept on going. He's not out of the race, but he's now backwards, I believe, and he's right at the back of the pack, so must have been contact there between the two Mercedes cars. Meanwhile, Raikkonen's made the pass on Sebastian Vettel, and he's now on the back of me, so we're going to have to be defending from the defending world champion very soon here. Okay, DRS is now enabled, and this is the part where both of the Ferraris come absolutely flying past me here. I'm not going to use Rich Mix because we are sort of fighting a losing battle here, so we're going to keep it in standard. However, right now, Raikkonen is struggling to catch me. He's just going to pull alongside me now, but I don't think he's got enough on a straight line to actually make the move, so we're actually surprisingly going to hold on here for now. So far, so good. I'm keeping both the Ferraris behind me. They can't really get enough of a run in a straight line to make the pass, and also I'm very impressed. Massa is keeping Lewis Hamilton at bay, which is very surprising to me. So Massa just seems to have resurrected around here or something, because he's got some incredible pace. But meanwhile, here comes Kimi Raikkonen. He's much closer to me this lap. However, he's not going to be able to use all of his momentum because this time he's too close to me to really get the run. So he'll open up DRS, but the question is, will he have enough in a straight line to get me this time round? I'm going to try and just put my foot down all the way again. This time he does get alongside me, to be fair to him, and he's going to commit to the move on the inside. I'm going to stay around the outside, but he's got the grip on that super soft tyre. He comes back into the racing line, and I think about a move, but Raikkonen has made it stick now up into third place, and that is him now into podium territory. So let's see if we can just now try and defend from Vettel, and also try and somewhat follow Kimi Raikkonen at least. Okay, so now here comes Sebastian Vettel. I'm just going to cover all sorts of lines here, keep my car in the middle of the track, and I was pretty fair defending in my opinion. Vettel can't find a way through. Also, Esteban Ocon has car issues, so he's going to be dropping through the pack fairly quickly. So it looks like I'm going to bring home the major points for Force India today if I bring the car home. So let's try and make that basically a reality and try and bring home maximum points for the team today. Right, Hamilton's in the pit lane, which I just realised. Here comes Vettel. He's actually gone to my outside into turn 1, which is very, very unique. It's not the sort of place where you normally go for the pass, but to be fair, he's committed to it. He's stuck to it, and he's still there trying to make the pass. He's got alongside me. He's going to have DRS as we cross the detection point pretty much, and I think this is going to happen. We're going to go side by side through a route for the first time in this race. Vettel's still there, side by side action. Vettel keeping his nose buried right in there, but he just gets out of it and decides to wait for the DRS to become available, and now he's going to try and go for the pop up the inside with some DRS assistance, but he doesn't quite make it stick, and I'm going to hold on to P3 for now. But Hamilton came to the pit lane onto super soft compound tyres, so that means he's at least on a two-stop strategy, so we'll see what happens at the end of the race. But right now Lewis is basically a net position behind me, as I am on a one-stop strategy. So also Raikkonen and Massa, we have to wonder what their strategies are. Also Vettel, will they come in for another super soft, and will they come in for a soft? Because if they're coming for a soft tyre, that pretty much means that they're on a one-stop strategy. But if they go for a super, then they're coming in for one more stop. All I know is I'm on the one-stopper, so that's going to give me track position. Okay, Vettel's pretty damn quick this time. He's got a very good run on me here, and he's now going to open up DRS, and he's going to get very close to the back of me. I'm going to just pull over to the inside slightly and just block him off a little bit, and that's enough to keep him behind me for now. Ricciardo's also right behind Sebastian, and I'm starting to form a little bit of a train now, as a lot of the guys have overtaken Kvyat, but Ocon is out of the race. So VSC for now. That's going to just allow me to go into lead mix, but my teammate is out of the Belgian Grand Prix, and I did say he had some issues with his car, and they must have obviously triggered him to retire from the race. So very unfortunate for Esteban there, but hopefully I can, like I said, bring home the points for the team and try and make a good performance for them. Okay, Sebastian once again is going to try and go for the overtake. He's a little bit further back this time, but he's still as racy as ever. Ricciardo's just dropping off slightly. This time Vettel goes to the inside. I'm going to try and go around the outside of him. Can I make it work? Inside line for the second part of Les Combes into, I believe this is Malmedy, sorry, and I get it all wrong on the exit of the corner there, and Vettel makes it stick, and I'm going to have to basically just sit behind him for now and try and maybe get him somewhere else. Okay, so interestingly, Vettel actually comes into the pit lane also. There's another car in, and I believe it's Felipe Massa. So Massa and Vettel come in. We should rejoin just ahead of Massa if we're lucky. He's going to be on fresh tyres, but we should be just ahead of him. He's gone to the soft compound tyres, and I've had a poor exit out of the first corner, which I had a really scruffy line overall through there, because I could have been right on the back of Massa. Instead, I'm quite far behind. I'm going to try and pick up the slipstream on the Brazilian here, open up the DRS and try and stick with him. I think on this tyre, because we're on equal tyres, I think I can keep up with him, but I'm very impressed with Massa this race. He's been absolutely incredible, and his pace is something else. Okay, so Massa re-inherits first place, and now Raikkonen is into the pit lane, and Hamilton's the next guy behind me on super soft compound tyres. Raikkonen switches over to a different set of tyres. I believe it's the soft compound tyres, and there he is. So we've just come out ahead of Raikkonen there, and he's going to be a little battle with Hamilton, but right now we're going to the end, and Raikkonen also and Massa on the one-stop strategy, and I believe Vettel probably is as well. So right now I think the best we can do is probably P4 this race if we bring it all home in one piece. But right now, let's hope Raikkonen and Hamilton have a battle and I can just try and find some more pace. Okay, here comes Lewis Hamilton. He's racing me for position here because he's got one more stop to do just like myself. But he's in the Mercedes and he's going to be really, really quick on that tyre. And I've got to try and defend from him as we go around the outside, inside line for the next corner. But Hamilton just makes the move work, and I'm struggling to compete against these big guns here. I'm trying my hardest, but this soft tyre is not a particularly great race tyre. I've been quite disappointed with the performance of it so far. And now Raikkonen's behind me, and Vettel's like 4 seconds a lap faster than me. So right now we're just struggling on the end of this tyre, but hopefully we move over to the super soft. We can be a little bit more comfortable in that final stint of the race. As Raikkonen goes on my inside, I tried to turn in to scare him off, but he was having none of it, and I've now dropped down to, I think this is a net P4, or sorry, it'll be a net P5 once Vettel gets past. So, and I think maybe people like Sainz, who was behind me on a one stop, on the fresh soft tyre, they might have actually undercut me, so I could be quite far back here come the end of this stint, which is not ideal, but I'm committing to it now, so I've got to try and stick to it, and I should come in at the end of this lap onto the super soft compound tyres. Right, into the bus stop chicane here. Let's just try and get it all slowed down. Into Lee mix. Let's have a little bit of fuel in the pit stop phase. Just clip the inside wall slightly there, but let's get the limiter on. Let's get it all slowed down. There we go. Solid pit entry. And now we wait to see how far down the middle we're going to drop. We're going to get overtaken by Vettel. Also Ricciardo. I didn't factor him in either. Ricciardo's another guy that was going to overtake me for net position here. So Ricciardo goes by, and now Sainz is the next guy to go past. He's got someone right up his tail, which isn't ideal, and that guy is Max Verstappen as well. I forgot about him, so we could be miles away at the end of this stint if we're not careful. So let's get the pit limiter off. Let's try and get up to speed and see where we rejoin. We're going to be behind Magnussen by the look of it, and then Bottas is right behind. Oh my days. Okay, we could be finishing outside the points at this rate. Okay, we really need to recover now in this last stint. We need to hope that the pace in this tyre is bloody brilliant, because I need to find some of that pace and really just get the maximum out of this car and recover some positions. Okay, so Verstappen comes in, and now we're right behind Kevin Magnussen, and Bottas is right up my chuff as well, so we need to make the move on Kevin here to just basically get rid of him and try and get him out of our path. So here we go then into the first corner. I'm basically going to wait for the DRS and get him over the top of Eau Rouge, but it should be a fairly simple pass. I'm going to crank out to Rich Mix and try and set a couple laps at max pace around here to really try and catch anyone in front of us and see if we can gain any more points other than P7. So here we go through Eau Rouge, absolutely flat out as you would expect, and now just get a nice run on Magnussen. Wait for the DRS to become available, and now just basically stand in slipstream as long as you dare, pull to the inside line, and we should make the move before the brake zone hopefully, and yes we do, and that is me up into 7th place. And now let's see how much pace we have on these tyres and left in this car. The difference between the super soft and the soft compound tyre is absolutely massive. Literally 2.7 faster than my previous best lap. I mean, that time difference is ridiculous. Obviously a little bit of rich mix is down to, and also a bit of DRS, but even still, I mean, that sort of gap is like, that's a huge gap between tyre compounds, and that is the sort of pace I'm sort of liking, and I think we can catch Carlos Sainz here for P6. Okay, here comes Valtteri Bottas, DRS wide open for the Finn. He's going to pull to the inside. Is he going to make the move stick on the brakes up the inside of Leclerc? I'm going to go around the outside of him. I've still got plenty of grip left on these tyres, and I think I can fight him for it. And he's still on my inside here. He's going to give me a good old nudge onto the AstroTurf and onto the grass, but we've made it work around the outside, and we're still ahead of Bottas for now. But this is not good because we're losing time to Carlos Sainz, and I want to try and stay on the back of him here. Okay, now I'm now out of Rich Mix, and I've got to play this tactically because Sainz is pretty much on my pace when I'm in standard, so I think Bottas passing me and closing me up to Sainz might be the best option here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let him just pass me for now, and let hopefully him bring Sainz towards me, because that's what I want to do, and basically guarantee 7th place by overtaking Carlos Sainz, because realistically Bottas is too quick. So let's just try and get that 7th place, because I wasn't going to catch him myself, so let's try and use Bottas as a way of catching Sainz here. Okay, I'm within a second of Carlos Sainz here, so I'm going to basically use the rich mix down the hill and through Eau Rouge to sort of power up to the back of him, and then deploy DRS on the back straight. Raikkonen out of the Belgian Grand Prix in the dying embers for Ferrari. We need to pass Sainz before we get to the yellow flag zone here, so let's get past him, and there we go, up into 7th place, and then straight back down to standard mix, and we're now past Carlos Sainz here. Now we wait to pass the scene of the accident where Raikkonen has gone out the race, which was at turn 8 Rivard, so that's now going to promote me into my target finishing position out of nowhere. So we've had a massive break of luck here to get the result that we wanted at Spa, and now we just got to try and bring it home and stay ahead of Carlos Sainz for the remainder of this Grand Prix. Got a yellow flag behind. Something's happened to one of the cars further down the road behind us, and I don't know who that might be Magnussen who's had an issue, but green flag conditions again here, so someone's got an issue further back. Don't know who it is, but they've started to slow down, and I think it might be, yeah, Magnussen. There you go. So Magnussen now out the Belgian Grand Prix. Meanwhile, I'm comfortably keeping Sainz behind me now, so it's looking like a P6 finishing position for me this race. I've just got to try and bring the car home for one more lap. Right, through the back straight for one final time. Sainz isn't really close enough to make a challenge on me. I've got too much straight line speed for him. Also, Vettel manages to beat Felipe Massa and win the Belgian Grand Prix. And here we go into the bus stop chicane for the final time. And it's going to be a very satisfying and very well deserved P6. Even though I was aiming to finish higher up in the race, I will still take that as a very good result. And I'm just continuing really to be very consistent and scoring good results in every single race now. Ever since Baku, I've been very consistent, and so it's just great. The car does feel really good now, and you can really notice the upgrades working nicely. The one that failed on me this episode, I'm probably going to basically wait on that upgrade and wait until I have enough resource points to buy the other aero upgrade, and then I'll basically buy both of them at the same time. So then we'll have two upgrades arrive at once, because that way we can just basically end the aero side of things for this season with those two upgrades for now, and then we can move over to the chassis side of things. But we'll look at that in a moment in the laptop. As you can see, Vettel wins at Spa, and making up for lost points that Raikkonen lost by retiring in the dying embers of the Grand Prix. Felipe Massa brings home a very good second place there, and shame he could have converted that pole position into a race win, but a very impressive race from him, and some great pace from the Brazilian, who just seemed to resurrect his career a little bit here and just find a little bit of pace out of nowhere, because even in the dry, his car is pretty damn quick. But as you can see, Hamilton comes home in third place finally to round up the podium. But overall, that was the podium. As you can see, then we're now going to move into the final race results, drivers and constructors standings. Right, as you can see, looking at the final race results, Vettel wins for Ferrari ahead of Massa and Lewis Hamilton, rounding up the podium with Ricciardo from P10 on the grid all the way up to 4th place. Brilliant drive from the Honey Badger there, ahead of Valtteri Bottas and myself in P6, beating Carlos Sainz, and then Lance Stroll from P16 on the grid. Very good recovery, as also Grosjean from P14 and Hulkenberg getting into the points from P12 on the grid there. As we scroll further down the order though, a couple of big results there as Ocon, Raikkonen, DNF from the race, then also Magnussen in the dying embers, along with the usual suspects in the lower half of the table. But looking at the driver's standings, you can see that we're still in 7th place as Ricciardo overtakes Verstappen now, and we're looking pretty comfortable here. Massa gets a big points haul, which gets him a little bit closer to where I am, but he's still a little bit off to where my points tally is currently, and also extends his lead over Ocon. But Raikkonen, the championship leader, his lead comes down quite severely to his teammate Sebastian Vettel, and is now down to 27 points. But other than that, we're going to now jump into the constructors. You can see that, as you can see, we're still holding P4 rather comfortably, and no changes in the shuffle whatsoever. But other than that, that was Spa, and we're now going to move into the laptop. As you can see, looking at the laptop here, it's very interesting because right now we've got 1,100 points, so we don't really have enough to get both upgrades. I want to try and get this one here and also get this one at the same time. So for that, we're going to need 1,350 points. So after the next race in Monza, after the practice session, we should be able to purchase both of these, and that should give us a nice little boost. But other than that, it should hopefully get us above Renault and neck with Williams if we're lucky. So that should be a pretty big upgrade for us. And then after that, we can then focus on the chassis, which is where we're still pretty poor, and we're now the second worst team in that department. So we need to improve on the chassis department pretty soon. But that is going to wrap things up, guys, for this episode. If you have enjoyed it, then please do smash the like button. Also, if you're not here, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and also check out these videos on screen if you haven't done so already. Also, if you want to get some GT Omega merch, then go click on the link down below in the description. Use the code TOM97 for a 5% discount. But other than that, guys, thank you ever so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.